Hello. Good day, everyone. It's Donna from Purple Pinky Promises, and I have a redo. I decided to redo this project, these cute little treat bags. I wasn't happy. I decided, why in the world did I even do that? So we're going to redo, and we're going to polish these up. I decided it was kind of silly to just work around, I guess, a little white sack when a polished one will do, I suppose. I think it's a little bit of my OCD that things didn't line up properly. So I'm redoing this project to make it line up properly. So those first two orange pieces of cardstock are going to measure 8.5 by 5.5. And now I'm cutting two pieces for the sides with the purple cardstock, the eggplant. It is going to measure 4.25 by 8.5. And then once that is done here, well, we're not ready to score just yet because we're cutting the bottom, which is going to measure 4.25 by 6.5. So that's the bottom measurement. And now we're going to go through everything and we're going to start scoring. So these are the sides, and the sides are going to score at 1/2 inch at each end. And that is on the 4.25 side. So that way our sides will measure to be 3.25 once we get those 1/2 inch scores on there. Now this is the bottom, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch all the way around so that when we are done, it is going to measure 5.5 by 3.25, which is how that needs to be so that it lines up with the box. Same folding the bottom, and we're going to get those good and folded down, burnished with a bone folder. And these are the sides. And in this project, I decided to go ahead and use that Lawn Fawn double-sided tape to tape this box together. So here I'm just adding tape on the sides that have the folds for both sides. And that is it. So we're going to line these up with the front and the back and connect them. I show you a different way to do it here at the end. I preferred this method after I figured it out. And but you do whatever you like best. But yeah, I liked the method of putting the bottom of the bag on in this particular bag. So anyway, so right now we're just attaching all of our sides together. And I have a real life crafting moment here. I get to working away and I forget that I need to die cut that front. So I had to rip my box apart. I very carefully reached inside with the bone folder and separated it. I had to be very careful. But I did get it separated so that I could go and I'm not going to hide it from you because you're going to see it eventually here. I failed to get this cut out before I had connected everything. So putting on our glue, and the acetate measures 4 by 4. When I was doing the live, it was 4.25 by 4.25 because I needed a lot of room and a lot of wiggle room. This, you don't need so much wiggle room. You can save your acetate, get that on there. And now we're going to attach, and now you can see what I did. I had to rip it out. Okay, we have the shape of our box formed now. And so we're going to work on the bottom of the bag. I am going to cut up on all four corners up to that first score line. And we're going to cut them all in the same place. We're going to add that double-sided adhesive. And I am going to miter this just a little all the way around. I want to make sure that nothing sticks up and does anything funny. I want it to lay down nicely. So once this is mitered, I put the corners in so that we have the bottom ready to go just with the corners. So now you see we have the bottom of the box forming. So now, next what I do is we have a little spot to trim. I go ahead and I take that double-sided tape, the top part that peels off, and I fold it back on every side. I reach into my bag and I just line it up from the inside. It was a whole lot easier to come in from the inside. Slide it all in there. I had a couple spots that wanted to pop out, but it went back in nice and gentle. And wherever that tape is exposed, I'm going to press it down to hold it into place. And then I'm going to pull out the tape pieces. Since it's all lined up, all I have to do is just pull out that tape cover and lay it down. It was so easy. Now I'm going in with that bone folder to just secure all of that tape together to the cardstock. All right, box number 1 is done. Okay, this one's a little more tricky. I decided on this little creature that I was actually going to do a long fold so that we didn't have to have so many cut pieces for the side. So this actually measures, the front of it actually measures 8.5 by 9.25, just like the first one. And I score it 1/2 inch on the end. And then I come over and I score it at 5 and at 5.5. And then, of course, same size acetate on the back of that. This time I remembered to cut my window out before I started attaching everything. And this second piece, I had to label front because the front piece is going to measure 8.5 by 9.25. Because we're folding over in the back, and we're folding over so many pieces, our back side needs to be a little bit different. It is going to measure 8.5 by 9 3/8. And you're scoring it at 1/2 inch, and then you're going to score it at 5 7/8. Because we need a little room to pull over that back side over, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm just attaching my pieces together. Okay, here's the bottom. We follow the same process that we followed, same measurement, 6.5 by 4.25. We cut up to the first score line, miter every corner, and put the tape on and fold in the tabs to create the bottom of the box. We do the same process here. I basically show you that I'm making a little V shape in between each of those sides. Okay. Now it's time for some tape. We're going to put some tape. You see those little V's in between. So now we're going to put on some double-sided tape. Going to go all the way around. Going to tuck in the tabs to create the base. And this is the part where you're about to see why we need a little bit of extra room, because it's going to fold over. Instead of attaching it straight to it, it folds over. Okay, we're going to take all that side and stick it down there to line it up with the bottom. And some of you might think this is a little bit easier than the other. You do you. I actually ended up liking the other method because I did. And like I said, because it's not two pieces, not two sides attached to the front and back, and we have a fold over piece instead, we need a little bit more room. So that's why we had to add a little extra to get that to fold over. So now we're taking tape off and lining it up on the sides. Folding this over. And here's where I'm talking about, where it comes and folds over. You've got a lot of layers to go through, so that, and you need a little room for it to line up. And there it is. Yay. Our box is complete. And now we get to decorate. Yay, we get to put those faces on. Now, all the products that are used in this will be listed in the description. And you can see here that I have used a scallop slimline die, and it is an edge die. And this edge die, I'm going to show you right here. It's from Spellbinders, and you have to cut your paper out to size, and I believe I cut these out 1 inch and 1/16. You see there's no cutting edge. You have to cut the edge off to create a strip with an edge. So in this piece, because there's no edge to cut, I was able to cut it along one side, cut it along the other, and create this cute little scallop. Now you do get a line down the middle, but I remedied that with a strip of cardstock that measured 8 1/4 by 1/2 inch. So we'll just get that stuck on there, and we're going to stick that in our bag here shortly. So now I'm scoring the scallops because I'm going to put it around the bottom to kind of dress it up a little bit. So I think that it would be better if those were scored differently, at 1 7/8 on each end, so that it would go around a little bit easier. I had scored these at 2 inches, and then I trimmed off the bottom. I trimmed off 1/4 of an inch off of each end, and so that it would meet up and look nice. So now here I'm showing you that I am taking a 1 3/4 punch, and I'm fitting it into those darling little scalloped circles. And I believe this one is 1.5 inches, and it was didn't leave me enough purple. I wanted more purple. And so I stuck it back in there. I stuck it back into the 1 1/4 inch punch. And I just manually pulled it in there with a piece of tape and cut it. And it was wonky, and I was okay because it wasn't perfect circle. And I liked it. As a matter of fact, I got a perfect circle, and I went back in and I decided I wanted to make an imperfect circle because I liked it so much. So both of those little eyeballs they're whomper jawed and they're absolutely darling. So now with a 1/2 inch circle punch, I'm going in there and getting those black parts of the eyes. Now this actually, I'm showing you here that it measures 5.5. Here's what I did. Measured 5.5 by 1/2 inch. Don't do that. I mean, it worked okay, but I think it would be better if this were at least 3/4 of an inch wide. This is only a 1/2 inch, or yeah, 1/2 inch. And I think 3/4 of an inch would be better. So I basically did mountain and valley folds so that I could have this fun looking, antenna. But I ended up having to glue it because it wouldn't stay up. And you'll see that here in a minute. If you're gonna do this, I would make it wider. I definitely would make it wider. And definitely find something that's a little bit bigger to attach to the tip so that it's going to stay up. That's what I do. Maybe attach a little smaller circle behind there so that it will stay up. I mean, mine stays up. It's just they don't stay up great. So, being honest, they have to be moved back, but they'll stay. They're monster eyes. So used these wobbles again, and these are the small size wobblers. And I'm just basically assembling my eyeball and attaching them to the antenna. I did use some double-sided foam adhesive. And here I am attaching it, and you'll see it goes funk. It doesn't want to stay up. So I glue it down. See that fold? I get under there and I glue it down. So it was kind of pointless to do this. That's why I say wider and a circle behind there to attach it to. I think that would be a lot better. So here I am again, gluing it down. And this is where it helped stay up. So they're fine. It's just kind of pointless, I felt like, to do all of those mountains and valleys for antennas. And I love how they wobble. They're so cute. And there is self-adhesive on those wobbles. I hope I'm not making you too dizzy. So now we're going to attach the handle. And it's done. All right, we are taking this fence die from Waffle Flower, and we're only going to glue that small little spot. We're not going to glue those last two end pieces. This is supposed to be Frankenstein's hair. And I think it works great. And for his eyes, I believe these are 1 and 1 1/4. Yes, 1 1/4. And so I cut out 2 from the white and 1 from the black, all the same size. And I pop up the black part with some foam adhesive. I cut it into a triangle, cut it down at the diagonal and create 2 triangles, and I can get them on there. And now he can have his droopy looking eyes. And now the last thing is to get those stitches on there. And those stitches come from they come out of that fence, the in-between parts of the fence. They make a great set of stitches. I do want to mention that the cardstock is Lawn Fawn Fern, that's the green, and the other monster was Persimmon. That I said Lawn Fawn, I meant Spellbinders. It's Spellbinders, and it is Persimmon. This is Spellbinders Fern, the green. And the purple eggplant is from Concord and 9th. And the green is Juicy Pear. It's Basil. Yay! And the black is also from Spellbinders. It's Onyx. All right, we did it. I loaded up those little mouths with some candy, threw some tissue paper on the top, and it was done, and I was happy with it. I felt so much better. Thanks, you guys, for being so patient with me and stopping by and watching videos, leaving us some love, likes, and subscribing to our channel. We most certainly appreciate it. And I most certainly appreciate you putting up with me having to be a little OCD and giving you some exact measurements for those bags. I feel better. Have a great day. Bye-bye.